Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be doing weaponry from the dark side. This is your host, Luna Rising.
And I'm Darcy Darkness.
So today's podcast is for weapons. And this was an interesting one because I have a big place in my heart for weaponry that is used in horror movies, if it's from victim's side or the villain's side, put it that way. Like I said, we're going to be doing pros and cons of protection and destruction weapons, weapons that we would never use and why, which is going to be a very interesting one. Darcy had come up with this question, and I thought it was pretty interesting because a lot of the times you see those stupid little memes or whatever on Facebook, but weapons that you would consider using while if they were lying around and if you had to get creative with them. So I honestly thought that was a brilliant question. It's just brilliant, to be honest with you. So,
Thank you. That was
um,
really cool that you thought that. That just randomly came into my head, and that was just like, I have to write that down.
yeah, I did think that was pretty brilliant because I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen on Facebook, you're in a zombie apocalypse and the first weapon or the first thing to your left or the first thing to your right is the weapon that you use. And half the time when I'm just sitting around and I read that and I look to my left, it's my phone, it might be a pen, it might be something, the Xbox controller, my tablet. I have a pair of scissors. Scissors would probably be the one thing that I have. But if it were to tell me to turn around in the recording room, I have a tool chest. So I have plenty of weapons behind me in my tool chest. I have a 6.5-inch buck knife for skinning
I'm
buck.
glad you said knife.
So.
Glad you said knife. I was just wondering what the hell that is. Like, what is that doing in there? Isn't the Wayne in there with you? I was like, seriously, what the fuck?
Mine's detachable, all right? So, I got to keep it for safekeeping so somebody else don't get a hold of it.
Is that your excuse now?
That is my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
That's fucking hilarious.
So for any of you guys who are tuning in to this episode and you have not previously watched any of the other episodes, Darcy and I do have a disclaimer. This disclaimer is we are blunt, we are obscene, and we can be vulgar. Get over it. If you don't like what you hear,
then
please
leave.
see your way out. But we are just two friends who love to have a good time and joke around, and we can be pretty obscene, vulgar, and there at times, if I need to resort back to Mr. David Bowie's penis, I will, but we can be
Why
have
is
sexual
this getting brought up?
we can have some sexual innuendos in here that are, again, vulgar, gruesome. If I need to, like I said, resort to episode 1 of our podcast and bring back the unanointed.
I said that they were as bad as David Bowie's penis. It's actually Jareth when you think about it. If it was David Bowie, he'd probably be butt ass naked stoating about his Jareth. I bet it was the fucking 80s. It was socially acceptable.
Yeah, but it was very socially acceptable to wear skin tight pants,
with no
no
cup,
cup, and shows every imprint
yes.
in 80s fashion. And now today we have these glorious 1080p 4K TVs to where it's basically like fine china. It shows the imperfections, it shows the detail way too well, and it's
family friendly movie.
Yes, and a child friendly family movie. Yes, that is.
You gotta love the 80s. Inappropriate. That's basically us. Even though you were born in the 90s.
I should have been born in the 80s because inappropriate is the one word that you and I can use that is pretty much between the both of us. And that is okay. We never did say that we were centering this podcast around appropriate. For Christ's sake, the podcast is named Confessions of the Dark Side. Anything, weaponry of the dark side, I guess we will start on what makes a good weapon of protection. What are the pros and cons of this weapon? The strength of the weapon is going to be a pro to it. You're going to want to have something that's not going to be easily broken. A lot of the times, people in horror movies, they pick up the stupidest things that can be broken right off the bat.
As you
I
pick
don't know
them
how
up.
many. Yeah, I don't know how many movies I have seen where they've picked up a pool cue and hit somebody over the head with it, and the pool cue snaps in half. I mean, that it's so dainty. If you want something like that, then don't use it to beat the crap out of somebody. Use it to stab them. It's long and pointy.
And you could also, once you've done that, you could break it with your foot, have another weapon. It's shorter, but if anybody comes at you, you can just go for a really, like, critical area, like, the neck, because you go for the jugular type,
Yes.
Not like I've thought about
Yeah, I
it or
mean,
anything like that.
I,
Not that I've thought about it.
I mean, yeah, that works too, but it's to the point of you don't, and this is going to be a theme throughout this episode, is it's not common sense. It's something that's going to be easily broken. People in horror movies, villains, victims, they don't have common sense. So they never think of the practical reasons. They don't think of the practical reasons, but they don't think of those practical reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
common
common sense,
sense was a
yeah.
big thing for me. I said because you need to think of not just your weapon of protection, you have to think about your common sense. Are you going to be able to use it? Is it going to be one of those ones where you randomly forget? It's not like muscle memory type thing. You want something that you basically don't even think about. It's just a reaction for protection. You don't want to really be thinking about too many things when you're trying to protect yourself from a serial killer or just a mentalist coming at you. You never know.
Yeah, seems like they always lose their common sense. So the practical use of a pull stick you can use as a stabby weapon, and then turn around, break it, and use it into another stabby weapon. People don't get that practical common sense out of the use of weapons like that. They just go for I have something long and pointy. It'll keep him at a distance. Let me try to hit him over the head with it. Never works.
You also, if you really wanted to be creative, see when the first person's on the pool cue, and then you've broken it to make a small one, and you stab the other person in the neck, you could literally start stacking them up on the bit. See how many bodies you could get on the pool cue that's already sticking out the victim. Make it
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, make it fun.
Who said it can't be fun? Make it different.
This is true.
See if that goes in a scheme, by the way. We'll fucking be like, that's my idea, you bastard.
Right? I mean, another movie that I could think of that I remember watching him do it, and it's a movie it's so much comedy in it, and it is a horror movie, but it's Shaun of the Dead. I absolutely
Yes,
love
that was
that
brilliant.
movie, and the very end when they end up they're in the bar, Queen is playing on the jukebox and they're
Yeah.
beating the zombie with the pool sticks. It's again,
And time with the music.
yes, and timing the rhythm, it's great. I love it. But again, that just defeats the purpose that you could do with it. But I do think they eventually do stab one of the zombies with the pool stick, if I can remember correctly. It's been
Okay,
so
I'm
long
not
since I've
sure.
seen Shaun of the Dead.
I think I watched Hot Fuzz recently. That was the most recent, Simon Pegg movie that I watched. Although
Yeah.
I did rewatch Space. So
Oh,
basically,
Simon Pegg
for
and
the
Nick
pros
Frost,
for
I love
me,
them.
see the pros list for me, I would need a responsible adult. I think we've discussed the responsible adult option before because even though I am one, I'm not that responsible. When it would come to that sort of thing, I would probably revert to a child. Do you know what I mean? And acting like a dumbass. Well, not a dumbass. Really wanting to take responsibility and wanting other people to do it. Like, if you want to break in and take something that, will be a good weapon and then, it backfiring and you needing assistance, I would need a
Yeah.
responsible adult. So
Yeah,
that
that
was
is one
one that
thing
I
that we both
said.
need.
Yes, and I don't have a con though for common sense for the protection though, because common sense is self-explanatory, and it's for both. I think for the weapon of destruction as well, you want common sense when you're picking your weapon of choice as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And
So it can be used in both.
it can be used in both. So my cons for weapon or protection, they really don't have anything to do with really the weapons themselves. It's more when you're being hunted by a villain, by a serial killer, by somebody who's a big, beefy brute like Michael or Jason or, something like that, the biggest thing I think can be a con is your mental state. And I'm not, saying common sense, because common sense is something that you would definitely need as a pro, not a con. I'm saying as a weapon of protection, your mental state, because once you get into those situations, you kind of, I guess the best way to put it is you kind of become dumb. You don't think straight. You don't realize what you're doing half the time. So
Confusion.
yeah, so that's honestly, I think that's going to be my three cons for that is literally your mental state, because no matter what, how you look at it is you don't have the mental state to, when you're running from somebody or something like that, you're running. Your first thought is not to defend yourself, and that's normally what you would need to do, especially if you're like getting chased by, we'll say, Ghostface. We did have a nice long discussion about that in previous podcasts, but you don't think, while you're getting chased to stop and pick up something. Ghostface is chasing you with a knife. Pick up something like a baseball bat or something like that, something heavy, something that's got a little bit of a reach to where he can't get in close enough with that knife. It's going to be heavy enough to hit him to give you that space to where you might be able to make a clean getaway. So it's just the confusion, the mental state, and everything like that. That's my cons for any kind of weapon of protection.
Yes, and the weapon, every inch counts away from the killer.
Yeah,
Did you
absolutely.
just laugh at me?
I did. I couldn't hold it in. I was trying so hard, but
Sorry, my
as soon as
husband
you
was laughing.
so was I.
My
Don't
husband was
worry.
laughing.
Because I
But no,
mean,
it does. Every inch counts, because if you're too close to the killer, then that leaves you like vulnerable. But still, it leaves him vulnerable because you're closer. But if you're trying to get away, then I'll say it, inch counts, so you can get a clean getaway.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things where you do want to have every
Enough space.
reasonable amount of space from you and the killer. Every inch does count, whether it's 6 inches, a foot. Every inch does count.
I love how he just said even a foot. I'm like, really? We're really going there?
I told you
Just
we
feel
are
like a couple inches
inappropriate.
are like exactly, but I was just like, really on home
We are.
stretch, you know.
If we were getting chased by a killer and every inch counts, I got no problem. We're good. We're safe. But I mean, there are some
Every inch
unfortunate.
that needs to be a movie. Every inch
Every
counts.
inch count.
People
You know
probably
what?
think it's porn.
We are going to become podcasters and movie directors, because we are making a movie called Every Inch Counts.
And it's not what you think.
Nope.
Feel like sort of like kind of teaching you how to like keep your distance from a killer. Every inch
Absolutely.
counts.
And to be honest, with a movie title like that, it's going to be a horror movie. Every horror movie does have its comic relief character. See, this is the proper length to be able to escape a killer.
Yes.
And it would be
This
perfect,
exact
because
length.
it'll be perfect. So, but no, I definitely agree with
Then
that
you've got to
statement.
demonstrate. Then
Oh
you'd have to
yeah.
demonstrate, when you lift it up, and then you're like, look, this is the distance, like showing you from each side. That's what you would have to do.
And
And it
not
would
only
just
that,
have
have
like a wee like
and
comic telling
and
you
and have two
not
baseball
this.
bats side by side too. Like one's a metal bat and one's a wooden bat, and him stroking the bat. Like, see, this one's wooden. It could break a top side of head, and he's kind of like doing a swinging motion with it. And say this one's
Yeah,
metal, it's going to do more damage as he's stroking the bat too. See, we need to be directors. We got this.
exactly. We've got just the most weirdest ideas ever.
This is perfect. But I do agree with that
Exactly.
statement, though. Even though, yes, it may come off
Even though you
inappropriate,
laughed
but
at
it
me.
is.
Even though you
It,
laughed
it,
at me.
well, I mean, the first thing out of your mouth is every inch counts. You pause, and then you said with a killer. So if you did
Yes.
not elicit the response of laughter for that, then sorry, not sorry, because that definitely elicited some laughter in there, because it needed it.
Do you know why I paused? Because I thought I had to actually, give you an example so you didn't think I was talking about something else, and that is why I paused, actually. So I was
Well,
giving you.
unfortunately, the pause made me think of that something else. Okay, so
Well, it's a double. It's like what a double entendre. I'm Scottish. I'm not. I'm not feminine. It's like so. Like so.
so,
If
but
you didn't
yes,
know, I'm not a girly girl yet. But
that
that's
is
going to be our
a-okay
kind
by
of.
me.
We're going to have the what random words, and it's going to be something or random sayings, and every inch counts going to be of ours. That will be on a T-shirt or something like that. Every
I
inch
have
counts.
2 T-shirts that need to be made. I have "Don't Talk to Strangers" with Pennywise face, and now I have a shirt that needs to be made that's
Every
either
inch
got a
counts.
baseball bat or like a fireman's axe or something like that, and says, every inch counts. ...
That's two
When
T.
getting chased by
That
a
is
serial.
that's two T-shirts I've came up with, man. Seriously,
So
isn't it? Two.
yes, yes,
Came
yes,
up with
absolutely.
two.
So it seems like we are about to have, guys, this is not in the making. This is
Merchandise.
just us talking, but we are going to have merchandise eventually at some point because we are coming up with ideas here on the podcast. So you guys get to listen to these ideas. Don't steal our ideas. I will hunt each and every one of you down.
I can remove
Anyway.
them if that's what you want, and we can just have loads of ideas.
The weapons of destruction, we're going to move forward a little bit. This one is for pros and cons. This one is going to be a little bit of, in my opinion, harder to give pros and cons to because throughout numerous horror movies over the years, we've always seen it's a horror movie. So there's always
Really,
either one
anything
survivor.
can happen.
Yeah, there's either one
Anything
survivor,
can happen.
there are no survivors, and the killer uses the weapon of choice that suits them, and it always does the job. So it's hard to honestly give pros and cons for this, but I will try my best. So the
I'm just
pros, in my opinion, one of them at least, is their weapons are usually the least expected weapons.
How so?
So, well, if we're going traditional, then they're obviously going to fit the character. So, Jason with a machete, Michael with a knife fits him. But if we wanted to go non-traditional and unexpected, I'll pick a movie that we both absolutely love. Cell.
Like sequels. Yeah, like sequels though. When you think about it, sequels don't always use the original weapon. They use other things.
No, they don't, but throughout the years, Michael Myers and Jason and even Freddy have stuck with their original weapons. Freddy with the glove, Michael with a knife, and Jason with a machete until the remake. And then that's when Jason did start getting a little more crafty with his weapons, like the fireman's axe or stuff like that. But no, Cube is unexpected because each room is a Russian roulette of a room. You don't know whether you're going to get a safe room. You don't know whether you're going to get of wires, your body, acid being shot at you. It is unexpected to say the least. So that is one pro that I think kind of fits very well with weapons of destruction is they can be unexpected and sometimes way too overpowered. Overpowered, unexpected.
They sound like cons.
I mean,
it does.
they technically could be both, to be honest with you. I mean, you're right. They do sound like cons, but they could be both. That's the tricky thing.
Do you have anything else?
I don't think I really have any more pros and cons, honestly, for the weapons of destruction because throughout the years of the horror movies, in my opinion, weapons themselves haven't really changed much. The only thing that's changed is killers. I guess another pro that I could say is creativity, because there have been numerous killers that have had to get creative with their weapons because they don't have a weapon nearby. So, I mean, I guess I could use that as a pro, but other than that, that's all I really have because, like I said, with weapons of destruction, any kind of pro that I could have could be a con. So even creativity could technically be a con for a weapon of destruction because what if that creativity doesn't exactly hold up when being made?
It was very motivational when you said creativity there.
Well, I had a movie in mind as I was, sitting there thinking about it. I was thinking of See No Evil. With the WWE wrestler Kane, who played the killer in that movie, and he got creative because he was going through looking for the blonde bimbo. Go figure, the blonde. And he got creative because he heard her phone going off and then ended up shoving her phone down her throat and basically suffocating her with the one. Yeah. So creativity, like I said, I was kind of a little motivated about that one because there are been plenty of killers that have been pretty creative with the way they've killed people with specific weapons, and See No Evil was at the top of my list on that one because of I don't think at the time he just didn't have anything, so he ended up picking her up, grabbing her cell phone, and then literally shoving it down her throat and choking her with her own cell phone. So here we're talking about every inch counts and shoving stuff down throats. This podcast episode brought to you by Pornhub.
Horror Hub?
Horror Hub, yes.
Or is it Porkcore or Popcore or whatever?
Porncore, there we
Porker.
Go. Porker.
I was just like, what the fuck? Yes, that is another t-shirt. That was you and me there. But we are on fire today.
Oh, we are. Okay, this is what happens when her and I spend way too much time not on comms together.
Without alcohol.
Yes. Without, it is noon. Technically, I could go make myself a drink now. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Like the UK.
It's 5 o'clock. Exactly.
So, yeah, we do talk during the week during Discord. We do try to come up with ideas, stuff that we could do for our podcast, stuff like that. But they're very chill and relaxed commentary in our discussions of what we're going to figure out, except for our adult chaos discussions. Those are way too hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think I think we'd be cancelled by now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, but
it's a couple other people. It's not just us.
mainly one other people, because we are a trio, and our trio is hilarious and fun. Get back into, what do you think your pros and cons are for weapons of destruction?
Weapon, I thought yourself, because you could technically use yourself as a weapon, anything around you. I was sarcastic and wrote my wit. Like, you're yourself using your instincts, basically, is a pro. But a con, self-sabotage. Especially if you're an introvert and antisocial outcast like myself, you don't play well with others usually, so that would be a tremendous con there. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I think that is 110% right.
What, the fact you can use anything yourself and use yourself as not a human shield. You'd probably use a dead body or something like that as a human shield. We can literally use anything that's around you. You could use yourself as a weapon or bait or anything like that. And also your wit, bad judgment, and you're using your instincts. Because I would probably, for destruction, it would be bad judgment, but a random fluke. But using my instincts as well and all the common sense. And just literally going for it, not thinking about it, just going for it, basically, which is again a con because you could literally do something else.
I mean,
there's that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yourself as a weapon of destruction, you could definitely screw up a lot or do absolutely something amazing, and it's definitely
people talk about for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's like apocalypse and you do something that randomly stops something, then people would remember that, and you would literally, that would be named after you. Like, instead of being a disease, you're named after something cool because you saved like loads of people and shit. Even though you weren't bothering to save people, you're just going, you know what, fuck it, let's do it. Do we have anything else to lose?
Yeah, I mean,
bad judgment, instincts. That was only the pros and cons I had, because when we were going into reading out, you know, the weapons of the serial killers that I've taken out, like the most, like the funny, most memorable ones, maybe a few folk don't know about. Remember what I wrote up in the guide I sent you earlier?
I actually haven't pulled up now, to be honest.
That means when we read them out, we can say, do they fit, you know, the stuff that we, you know, the pros and cons of the protection and the destruction.
about what weapons they would never use. So it'd be interesting to hear what weapon you would never use and why you wouldn't use.
Food.
Did you say food?
Yes.
Are we beating people with eggplants?
No, I didn't. No, you can no. I'm talking because see, like my weapon to my left is a banana. I wouldn't be able to do shit with a banana. It's a ripe banana as well, so that's doing shit. It's not like it's a green banana. Or you could most likely use it as a weapon because it's hard.
I mean, you could torture people with a banana, poke their
Me,
eyes out.
yes, because I don't fucking like. No, I don't like bananas. Seriously, even looking at this banana right now is giving me the fucking fear. Do you know what I mean? Bananas, the fruit, not bananas attached to people, and that just went dark again. But hey, it's not really dark. It just went Darcy. Ahmed, you're pulling a Darcy.
Pulling a Darcy.
Exactly.
Well, if we were going with mine, the weapon
What's yours?
weapon closest to me is an Xbox controller.
Would you
I
like
would
to use that though?
no. I mean, it'd be good to chuck at somebody to give me like a 2-second head start to start running, but other than that, it's
I'm not
got
running
no,
anywhere.
I'm a big boy, so I probably wouldn't get too far.
I'm not
So-
running anywhere. I'm just gonna stand there and go no.
But with the amount of stuff that I do have on my desk in front of me,
You could use
the
it.
Xbox.
Throw that.
Yeah, well, there is a part of the desk that is easily pull offable to where I could actually beat somebody with it, and it's probably a good 8 inches, so every inch counts.
Yes, you're gonna keep saying that, aren't you?
I am. It is now going to be a part of every conversation that we have on this channel. But I mean that would probably work. Just because it unfortunately it is wooden, so I probably can get maybe 1-2 good hits in before it breaks. But the 1-2 hits in, yeah, but it's not.
You just need a teeny tiny bit of wood.
True. So every inch counts, absolutely.
I said any.
Every inch. I mean, if you know how to use it correctly, then yeah, any inch does count. It's not about the size of the boat; it's about the motion of the ocean. All right.
Oh, you're correct.
What weapon would you consider to use if it was just lying around? If you had to get creative to survive?
Creative? Well, I'm a crafty type person. Usually there is some sort of scissors or like knife that you'd be using for, sewing because crafty. Also scissors, that's what I would always have kick it. So scissors usually or like a wee knife type thing, for like opening boxes and stuff. Box cutter or
Yeah.
whatever. Or Stanley knife. Get that because they open boxes from Amazon, so they're always kicking about. Try to think. I have because we're rearranging the house, I have stuff for the kitchen and right beside me, believe it or not. So it's like trays and stuff. So if a killer came at me and tried to stab through like a bacon tray, these bacon trays are like really thick, so you're no getting through that, even with a sharp blade. No way. So you could literally, fuck with a killer that way. I've got like wee side tables, but I really like them. I don't want to throw them at a killer and break them. Even though it could probably save my life, I'm like, no, I don't want to break them.
This one's gonna sound a little weird because I could get creative with it.
You've seen my list. Yes,
true.
but when you say that, you've seen my list of some of
I
the
have.
weapons, so.
But I honestly, I have one of those shark vacuums, the really thin shark vacuums.
Yeah, so bad. Yeah, so bad.
And I could literally take the bottom part off of it and basically use it as a sword-ish.
Yeah, I'm looking at mine right now. You could actually, if you had to use the shark, if a serial killer was coming, you could take the bottom bit off and then you could literally. You can't really stab with it, but if you used enough force and you went in the right way, I suppose. Ha.
Yeah, you can go in the eye, the stomach. You can, if their mouth is visible, shove it down their throat.
Also, any other orifice that they may have, because you do
Yeah.
get female serial killers and killers and shit. There's
Yeah,
a lot of
but
things you can do.
at that point in time, if we were going to be starting to shove shit in orifices, would it really be considered horror anymore?
We'd be looking at the first Wes Craven movie there that almost got him completely cancelled. The Last House on the Left there, aren't we? We're getting that kind of
That is true. That is true. That's the one thing I see around besides, the more practical stuff like my 6.5-inch knife that I have in my tool chest for skinning bucks and stuff like that. And again, I do have a tool chest full of tools. So I got screwdrivers, hand saws, stuff like that. But, hand saws aren't really going to be doing too much unless somebody is incapacitated to where I can start cutting up bodies. But I got plenty of tools and stuff like that.
The other thing I was going to say is, like, what weapon would you never use and why, right? It would be, you don't want anything too heavy, restricting your movement, restricting what you can and can't do, what you can and can't carry, because that tiny wee millisecond could be like a life or death situation for not just you if you're with folk. So you want to pretty much pick the weapon of protection and destruction for those same reasons. You don't want nothing too heavy, you don't want nothing that will restrict your movement, restrict what you can and can't do, and also, if it is, again, if you've not just think about the gun you've got to carry, it's the fact that is it going to be able to do the job? Because certain guns are for certain things, some are for close range and some are not. So you've got to think about that. And then if you've got a big fuck off sword or two big fuck off swords, it's like, can you get them out in time? Are you best to have, like, some shorter knives in your, on your upper part of your body type thing? You need to think about, you're going to be possibly running. Do you know what I mean? It's like, are you going to be able to carry all that shit and run? Or is it going to totally, like, obscure something? Like your vision, or obscure your base, or like me, depth perception and spatial awareness. Do you know what I mean? I could literally give myself away by walking into a fucking door or tripping over my own feet. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to think about that. Well, definitely for me. Well,
yeah,
that's another
absolutely.
thing as well.
Yeah, heavy, bulky.
No go. Nuh-uh. Unless you're stationary and you're not moving anywhere, like you're in a fort or something, maybe. But if you're running about, definitely not. If you're trying to get away, definitely not. And if you're trying to not make any fucking noise, definitely not something heavy, bulky,
Yeah,
and just pointless.
Again, it does go off the every inch does count. You don't want to use something too small because you don't want to get something too close to the killer too. Because getting too close, that's going to leave you vulnerable, though it may leave them vulnerable. Who's got more experience killing who? Something too small, even like just a ballpoint pen. You might be able to get one good stab in him, but Michael Myers don't care. You stab him, he doesn't care.
You keep going.
Jason, you stab him, he's just going to keep coming after you. It doesn't matter. Yeah, no, you just want something that's going to at least give you the decency of having that movement, to be able to walk around, to be able to be quiet, to be able to not have to have 3 to 5 seconds to be able to lift something, to be able to swing.
Having something that, especially if you're like, if they do come up to you, if you have something like a scalpel or something like that, because you can get scalpels, you could literally make a shiv like a scalpel or a shiv like thing and have it in the inside pocket, or have it somewhere that you can just literally pull it out and stab once, like insert here and then go. I know that sounded wrong. You could just go for a fleshy part and it gives you enough time to go out, to
and
off.
Not only that, with the scalpel too, that could go on to the point of being creative with a weapon, because at that point in time you could put a scalpel at the end of a pool stick, duct tape it on pretty tight, boom, now you have something that's at least 5 foot long, extremely light, and now it's got an extremely pointy end. Yes,
exactly.
So you may get one good stab out of it, but guess what, that one good stab, if you got the length and you don't have a killer you don't have a killer that's Jason or Michael that will actually get hurt by a stab, you will have plenty of time to stab and run. If it honestly was Jason or Michael, just keep running.
Exactly. You don't stand a fucking chance. If there's a cliff, jump off it, basically, if Jason's coming after you, because he's fucking coming at you no matter what. He's literally coming out the water way you as his trophy, do you know what I mean? He wants to make sure that you're dead.
Exactly.
So does Michael as well.
Yeah, so does Michael. Michael is the embodiment of evil, but Michael is one of the killers that are a brute that is still human.
Yeah.
Jason is not. He's a brute, but he is dead. So he's basically cursed in a way.
Supernatural. supernatural.
Yeah, so he's just a brute, and
Oh,
he's
oh God. Oh, my
you okay?
brain just went, could, oh my God, no. Could the Winchesters take down Jason?
Ooh.
Technically, supernatural guys versus a supernatural being? Oh, I think they missed something.
I think they need to come back with a reunion episode called
Just
Camp
for
Crystal
that
Lake.
episode.
The mystery at Camp Crystal Lake. I honestly feel like I am doing a petition today. This needs to happen. The boys need to come back for an episode called The Mystery at Camp Crystal Lake, just for a spoof of a series of could the Winchesters take down Jason Voorhees. Yep. In a way, if they have
also could be figure out what he is as well.
You know, out of all
and if
the
they could
seasons,
bring back people as well, if you could bring back certain people to defeat, like Bobby and stuff, because that would be good to have. Like picking your team, like the way Yellow Eyes picked his team with the Demon Children. They could pick their team.
Here's the thing. You know, the series was called Supernatural. Granted, I know it hinges on demons, angels, blah, blah, blah. I'm surprised that they never did spoofs about iconic horror characters, because, I mean, they even did... Okay, I wasn't sure if you knew they did Scooby-Doo or not, but yes.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, they did.
What's the fucking spoilers about it?
Okay, but yeah, they did do Scooby-Doo. So honestly, I feel as if that would have been having, you know, Jason or Michael or Freddy or somebody, you know, an iconic horror legend being put in there, because they have done horror legends iconically. They've done Bloody Mary, stuff like that. So I honestly feel like they should have done something like that. I mean, now that we're sitting here and the series is ended, it sounds like that would have been a very cool idea. So
I thought Jason would be better because he was technically a supernatural.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, technically Freddy is too, but I mean, Freddy is too. So having those two iconically in Supernatural, a series about supernatural beings, I think would have been beautiful. You know, to each their own, I guess. I mean, they didn't. I guess they just wanted to kind of stick with what they did, and what they did was amazing, regardless. But
what's a question you could ask them if you get to ask them a supernatural question? It's like, if the Winchesters could go to Camp Crystal Lake, would you be able to, one, find out what Jason actually was and we know how he came to be, but how did he come to be, and also how to destroy him and take him down for good? Would you be able to do it? I want to know everything. I want a breakdown. Tell me everything. What would you do and why? That's what I would say to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And probably get what the actual fuck, you've thought about this far too much? Yes, I have.
Yes, we have. Most obscure weapons used. I was reading this before I started this episode today, and the research that you absolutely did on these, even though 9/10 of these I definitely could remember off the top of my head, but the extensive length that you went through to do these, I honestly, it's brilliant. This is absolutely amazing.
I love doing stuff like this, so like the fact that you appreciate it means the world to me. And oh my god, I don't want to get emotional. I've dealt with enough emotions today. Not my own. So do you want to do, like, I don't know what that's from, but that is from a movie. Wait a minute, it's an old ass movie, so I'm trying to find it. You know what? Probably it just says one big line there. There is a movie. It's Deathgasm.
Yes.
So I'm going to take that line. I don't know why it's all the way down there. So you can do that one if you want. But I was just saying that, like, you know, with games and stuff, you've got Dead Rising, like the first one, where you could put Lego heads on the zombies, and then, you know, you could pick up anything in the game and just, like, fucking, you know, hit it with, like, a sword, a samurai sword, or hit it with, like, guitars and stuff, but the guitars would make the noise and things like that, which made the game really funny. I just liked putting Lego heads on them and then hitting them. It was really...
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. I thought the Deathgasm one was hilarious, though, and I thought you'd enjoy reading that out.
Yes. Yeah, the Dead Rising one, I played the game. I unfortunately did watch the stupid, horrible movies that they came out with them. Obviously, the movies are going to not...
I didn't do that
Yeah, the movies really don't pay too much homage to the Dead Rising games because you basically have a bunch of people with guns. So wasn't really worth it because playing Dead Rising, being trapped somewhere to where anything and everything around you can be used as a weapon, well, that is brilliant. So when you screw up the movie and you don't follow that route, it sucks. So
it's just a zombie movie.
yeah,
It's not Dead Rising, basically.
yeah. So the next one, the next one on the list is Death by Dildo.
Yep, it is.
Oh.
Well, I was going to say that literally some of them are deadly, some of them are really, really hard, and they can literally knock you the fuck out.
Oh.
Not that I've hit someone in the head with a dildo or anything like that. Actually, no, I waited till someone was asleep and then hit them with it as a joke to wake them up. But that was, again, a party.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but being killed by a dildo, I would probably just want my life to end anyway. If that's how I know I'm gonna die, just kill me. I'm sorry, just do it, get it over with, just kill me, put me out of my misery.
He didn't read the full thing. He didn't read the full thing. Read it as the full sentence, right, from Deathgasm, right? If you scroll down a bit, because obviously.
Yeah, Deathgasm, death by the double ender, also known as the veiny nunchuck.
And then a lol at the end.
Yeah.
When I was writing that, there was no way I was writing that any other way.
Yeah, I mean, again, if I'm going to be killed by something that is literally known as put me out of my misery, I don't care how you're going to do it. If I know I'm going to die, kill me. Just do it however you please at this point in time. Just, yeah.
I still think it's hilarious.
It is.
I
remember that movie, and I do remember that. And I'm just sitting here processing the fact of now going through this. If that was how I was going to die, just make it quick at that point in time. I don't want to be known.
Don't enjoy it. Don't make it long.
I don't want to be known as the guy who was killed by something known as the double ender veiny nunchuck. I don't want to be that guy. You know, how did he die? By dildo.
That's memorable. But no, it would also be veiny nunchuck. That's hilarious. Why would you not want to be killed by that? That's hilarious.
It's hilarious, but come on now.
So memorable.
That's
like a clean one, like a clean one. Is kind of
make sure it's clean first. I mean, kill me after. Just make sure it's
kids sanitary.
I do hold in
mine. Old what?
I was gonna say the next one that's on next one that's on the list holds a spot in my heart, and so yeah, I love it.
You can say it if you want.
So
I'm not bothered. I did the research, so you can see it.
So the next one on the list is from the movie Ghost Ship, and it's the Death by Wire. I absolutely love that. It is the best. It is honestly how you put it in here. It is the best, especially the way the bodies slide. Absolutely, it is a very
detail.
Yeah.
Of the very very detailed. Mm-hmm. The sliding of the body parts, and it's not even straight away. It's literally it goes right through, and then you're waiting for them to slide. You're like, has it done it? No fucking way. And then it does it, and it's just like.
But can we also appreciate another part of that movie? Oh. Because I would probably die in the same fashion. I love the whole movie too, but I would probably die in the same fashion as the black dude who seen the girl getting naked and then falling down the shaft. Sorry, I would be the same way.
Naked and shaft, really?
Exactly. You know me, I had to put 2 and 2 together.
Well, I've already said plenty this episode, so you probably get at least 4 or 5 in the bank.
Yes. But no, I probably honestly would. I would probably die the same way, but like, whew, everything that's going on right now, and she's getting naked. Yes, let's go.
It was like crazy contraption weapons created for killing in a horror film, like we know Freddy's glove.
Yes.
That was something that was created, which again is his main weapon, but he does use adaptations on his weapon because in Dream Warriors, we spoke about this. He puts the syringes and has the girls get the track marks, and he opens them. Each one's opening, and then he just basically say the cheesy line, and then he puts all the syringes and needles into her, and that's how he kills her, because they're all trying to take him down as their strongest self in their dream, because they're weak
Yes.
apparently in the real world, but in the dream they're not.
Yep.
And then you've got
and
the TV one.
yes, the TV one. But again, too,
TV armor.
as we have explained in previous episodes, we both have a very fondness to Dream Warriors. So
No, it's fucking awesome. Fuck you. I don't care if that's not your favorite, but it's my fucking favorite.
exactly.
One out of them all. The other thing would be the Gristle Gun from Existence. I don't know if you've seen
I
that
have.
movie. It was a weirdly odd movie, and I remember I had it in VHS. That's how old I am. So it was just, again, a weird as fuck gun that you would never ever expect to work, but in this movie it does. Would it have, for the rules that we've created or the kind of guidelines we had, it wouldn't last, because it would, if it fucked up, you'd spend time trying to fix it, if you will. So therefore that's the con of that, it's not practical. And it would be restricting if you had to fucking fix it. Freddy's glove, again, that ends up always attached to him, so it's kind of like the whole Ash's arm is, hand, like it's down a bit. Ash's, because he chops his hand off, and then he puts the chainsaw on, and then you've got Anton from
Idle
Idle
Hands, which I just watched
whose
that the
hand
other
is
night.
possessed. Please don't tell me that's the first time you've watched
No,
that.
God, no.
I was like, holy shit, but I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? What idiot? You would put your hand in something, would you not, before you chopped it the fuck off?
Absolutely.
So it wouldn't go about to actually finish its work. You dumbass. So there's another thing. So that was like, we're talking about how you're adapting the weapon. You've got Ash's chainsaw, which was his hand, and he put the chainsaw on. And obviously Freddy's glove, the gristle gun, what the fuck? The gristle gun, and what else was it? And Anton's hand.
And you did miss the Phantasm's Sentinel Sphere.
You know that, the Sentinel Sphere doesn't really change, well, apart from the blades coming out of it, because yes, it can't do any damage really to you without the blades coming out. Although being sconed in the head with that kind of sphere would maybe hurt, but it's when the jaggy thing pops out of it, man, that's where it does the real damage. Because depending where that fucking hits you, it was usually hitting you in some sort of important artery. It
Yeah.
would totally fuck you up and drain your blood really quickly. It was designed to basically not very, very pretty and be very, very painful, and you would bleed out and die, basically. As I put it, is on Scottish, Phantasm Sentinel Sphere, very jaggy and very memorable, and what a way to go out by it, but a jaggy ball thrown at you until you bleed out and die. A ball is a ball, and we spell it BAW, and it's just the way we say it. And a jaggy ball, folk was like, who was he killed? A jaggy ball? Seriously? That makes no sense. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I was thinking when I was thinking about Phantasm Sphere, because I have the special edition, but I don't have the ball. I've always wanted the ball. I've got the Hellraiser puzzle box, and I have a Hellraiser bobblehead thing as well, but I don't have the actual sphere with the discs, which is something that's on my wish list. So we've got the next few ones. Next we have. Do you want to go? Because I've managed to line this
You
up
landed,
so you're
yes.
saying all the dodgy
You
ones.
landed on it perfectly. So the next
You've
one,
had the dildo one, and now you've got to say the next one.
the next one is the good old movie 7 with the bladed strap-on. And yes, you worded it perfectly. It does take pegging to a whole new level, fucking someone to death. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah, because that was for what, Lust, wasn't it? Because
was it not?
Yeah, because
no.
I mean, 7 was about all the guy killing people going through the 7 deadly sins. So
that was again. Have you not seen it? It's Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt, Kevin Spacey, and no one gives a fuck about Gwyneth Paltrow. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
no.
she's not really that great. So, but no, amazing movie. Again, I think it came out in 1993. It's really, really old. It's such a gritty It's not horror, but it's like a
It's
thriller, isn't
it's
it?
psychological.
Psychological
Yeah, it's
thriller.
psychological. I would say psychological
Horror.
horror because it does
Yeah.
have the aspects of a horror movie due to the eeriness of it,
The content of them.
the feel of it. Even though it is more of a thriller, I would consider it more of a horror for those aspects. And not only that, you can't have the seven deadly sins and somebody going through a murderous rampage through the seven deadly sins without it be considered a horror, in my opinion.
Yeah, or some sort of gore.
Yeah, so
Yeah, or some sort of gore. Visually, anyway. So you doing the next couple,
yeah,
or do you want to one of the last ones? Because we talked about it earlier, the movie we were talking about.
yeah, Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, you can do that one if you want.
Yeah, so if you guys have not seen Shaun of the Dead, do yourself a favor. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are absolutely amazing in that movie. Same with Hot Fuzz and I can't remember the last.
World's End.
World's End. I was drawing a blank on it, but yeah, that is those three movies are absolutely amazing. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. I was gonna say Simon Frost and Nick Pegg.
That's a great name.
There we go. In Shaun of the Dead, it is a spoof of Dawn of the Dead, but the one scene that she did research on, which is iconic, is when they are getting the records thrown at them in the apocalypse. And honestly, who would think that records would be used as a weapon? But LPs, them going through their records in an apocalypse of records would be best to use and what ones they don't care about throwing. One would do some damage, a broken record, a dangerous frisbee, which is absolutely true. I mean, I honestly thought that was hilarious.
What, a dangerous frisbee?
A dangerous frisbee, and not only that, them literally about to be eaten by two zombies
Arguing
over what records to throw. So yeah,
it was a disagreement about Shadi or something like that. I don't even know who the fuck it is. It's some 90s person, like, and he's like, he goes, "It's not mine, it's Lizzie's." He's like, "Well, toss it."
Yeah.
Because it's his ex-girlfriend. Remember, it's like,
Just
toss it. He's like,
toss
"No,
it."
what if we get back together?" And he's like, "What?" It's hilarious. Or it was like a Stone Roses one, like it's a special edition.
Yeah, just them arguing back and
like,
forth about
two zombies coming at you.
Yeah, just them arguing back and forth about which ones to throw. Quite honestly, if that was today and we're people still use CDs, I'm pretty sure that would be like if you and I had this amazing CDs, we would probably be the same way though. You and I would be arguing which ones to throw and which ones not to throw.
Although if we had doubles, we'd be like, just get all the doubles of each of each album, and then we can toss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Well, I mean, at that point in time, if we were getting rid of the double, if we had the doubles, one of us is going to have to move in with the other, so we can keep listening to the music now.
Exactly. So someone's living in someone's base.
Exactly.
So, is there any other ones you would like to say? Because we've got a couple we've missed. I'll do it. Brain Dead or Dead Alive, not Dead Alice, as it's. Peter Jackson did amazingly classic films before he did those shitey films called Lord of the Rings that people think are brilliant when he's the best. And the best work he did was in his Brain Dead years, which was Brain Dead, Bad Taste, and Meet the Feebles, and then later on came The Frighteners. But this is from Brain Dead, and the classic scene is basically a small town in New Zealand. Basically, someone gets bit by a bat, a crazy vampire bat, and then people start to get infected, and they're terrible looking zombies. It's weird, they look like shapeshifters, so their faces are all like melted off and shit. And you've got like a priest and a nun, and they're doing things they shouldn't, and then they're in this big ass house, and basically he comes in with like a lawnmower and he fucking just goes over them all and just like totally decimates them. It's so fucking funny. So it's not supposed to be horror, that film. It's horror and comedy, but it's really dark as well. And I just always remember the lawnmower scene because the actor, he was in The Mighty Johnsons. If you've ever watched that, that's about Greek gods.
Yes.
And stuff. He it's got this manic face. It kind of reminds me of Patrick Bateman in fucking American Psycho. It's that kind of look, like laughing to himself and properly like in glee that he's doing something. That's what I love about the fact that they used a fucking lawnmower.
Yes.
So I thought, how could you return that lawnmower if it was broke? Because now you've killed like loads of people, do you know what I mean? Or loads of zombies. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how are you going to explain that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What else do we
Oh,
have?
we got plenty. We got good old Rose McGowan from Machine Gun with the Planet Terror.
Yeah, that was hilarious though.
Yes.
Again, that's one of the ones that I would not have. It's too bulky, and also you'd be peeing on it most likely, depending on, obviously, it's the apocalypse, you're not obviously peeing on a toilet. I've thought about this a lot. And then Snoo would be dangerous because you'd have a gun there.
Yeah, I mean,
What if it goes off?
exactly. You don't want to be
What if she sets it off?
bouncing up and down on a pogo stick and the gun to go off.
Which is one. I know. We have a clockwork orange, the porcelain phallus, or a good night. That's it. So I said, how many people have art pieces that could be used in a pinch if they were being hunted by a killer? Well, most people have something laying around that could knock some sense into the killer or surprise him, freak him out, and then they run the fuck away. So imagine if you were coming at someone with a porcelain phallus. Would you want to be fucking killed by that? Your victim's coming at you with a massive porcelain cock. It was like, you'd be running the fuck away because you'd be like, what the fuck? What the fuck have I just walked into? What the actual fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
But someone gets killed by it.
yeah, Clockwork Orange is a truly a classic, great movie.
And violent as fuck.
And violent, yes, and violent. But it is a great movie. It is a classic, and yeah, the scene where the dude does get killed by a giant porcelain cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd probably run away.
Exactly, you would. That film actually still fucks me up in the head.
Oh,
Like,
that's what it was meant for.
Just certain scenes. No, it's totally a movie to fuck you up. I seen it when I was 16 though, 15 or 16, so maybe it was just because of my age when I seen it, but
Yeah.
that was weird.
I mean, yeah,
I
that's
can handle
not
it.
exactly a movie that I don't think that would hold up in today's society. I think a lot of people would have issues with the fact that there is a giant porcelain penis killing people.
No, actually, it's not like got legs or whatever.
No,
like, it's
yeah,
not like a
it's
cock leg.
but somebody using
it's an actual.
but somebody using it
Yes.
as a murder
I had to
weapon.
clarify it.
Yeah, I think that wouldn't hold up today. I think there'd be a lot of people trying to cancel that movie. I'm surprised it hasn't actually been trying to get canceled yet, to be honest.
I'm surprised it's not been remade, like everything fucking else.
Yeah, well, I think A Clockwork Orange is same with like Pulp Fiction. Those are just movies that can't be remade. Those are just all classic.
If they remake Pulp Fiction, I'm going to stab somebody.
Oh, if they remake
With my words.
If they remake Pulp Fiction, then the point of this podcast is going to go down real quick because our whole philosophy is we hate remakes, we hate sequels, we hate prequels, and redoing a classic such as Pulp Fiction would give this podcast so much ammo playing and moan about to where we would go from horror movies and specific genres and weapons like that to literally complaining about the remake or any other classic, which is something we could do eventually at one point, but just instead of having a list, just go through rant and raves about remakes and sequels and prequels. It's actually a good idea. I like that.
Gremlins, which again is the original was a horror film. The second one was a comedy.
Yes.
So it was the microwave. Again, the microwave is used in so many urban legends. Like the wet cat, and the woman puts it in or the wet baby, or some. I don't know how many babies and cats can fit in the microwave when microwaves come out. They wouldn't have been that big, but however, basically it's used. And it's not a very nice scene. It really is not.
No,
Can you remember it from Urban Legend as well?
I can. It's
sick.
Yeah, it's
It is. And that movie was not discussed yet, but there is a shitty sequel. It's a cheap movie to make, I can imagine. And you've got one of my favourites. Well, two of my favourites are coming up, actually.
Yeah, so the next one we have is going to be Reanimator Intestines. Using all the body parts as weapons.
Who knew?
Yeah. But using all the body parts as weapons. This was available using the intestines, like for tying up or choking them, or just for the sheer disgust of using the intestines, because, well, they're full of shit. I like how you put that. I do like how you put that.
Oh, thanks, because I was sitting going, they're full of shit. Fuck it, I'm writing that. Have you seen Serial Mom?
I think I've seen it in passing.
It's got Kathleen Turner in it, and it's got Ricky Lake, Matthew Lillard in it
The
as
one
well.
and
They're like the
only
main ones.
Matthew Lillard. He is a genre of movie himself. He does got
Oh, he is. He's a mood. I love him. He's brilliant.
chef kiss to Matthew Lillard. I know he'll probably never hear this podcast ever. But
You never know.
if he does, Matthew Lillard, throughout your years of movie, you have done an amazing job. You are a mood. You are
Are
yeah, you
everything.
are. You're just brilliant at what you do. Your craft is amazing.
You know what I feel like doing right now? It's like the proper, like, Alice Cooper, Wayne's World. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. That's pretty much what we're doing to Matthew Lillard right now.
Yes.
And you would be Garth because you're the blonde one.
I don't know if I need to take that as a compliment or an insult, but I'm going to take it as a compliment because Garth is awesome.
It is a compliment. Garth is smart.
He is. Did you want to do the...
Although food, I didn't specify. You could technically use this food as a weapon because it's got a bone in it. And it's like, if it's a full leg of lamb, then it's like got a joint on it. So therefore it's a thicker bone that you could most likely, you could eat the meat and then keep the thing. Or you could just use the full leg of lamb. So in Serial Mom, if you're not aware, Kathleen Turner plays this eccentric mother in the 90s. I think it's based in the 80s though. And it's like apparently based on a true story that this woman kind of went mental and was like totally terrorizing her neighbours and her friends. Like she was posing as like a peeping Tom type thing and like prank calling someone with a manly voice, even though she has like a raspy voice because it's Kathleen Turner. She plays Chandler's dad in Friends, even though she's a woman and she's not trans. But that's who they've got as Chandler's dad, not Chandler's mum. And then she ends up, she starts to kill people if they like annoy her. Like if a woman was wearing white after Labor Day, and she lost the plot and stuff like that, and it was just like people hurting her children and all that. But it's like tongue in cheek. But I had wrote it as, this is a peach, a leg of lamb, tasty and an alternative weapon. Now, a frozen leg of lamb, that would be basically be a full-on Flintstone, because you could, like, properly knock someone out with frozen leg of lamb, couldn't you? It's literally solid as fuck. And I can just imagine Fred Flintstone with, like, a frozen leg of lamb, just, yabba dabba doo, hitting people with it. And I said, but a cooked one, and said, would you eat it afterwards or overcook it when you've had to reheat it? You have to deal with tough meat. Also, what would you sing as you wield your leg of meat to kill your victim? Would you sing Tomorrow from Annie like Kathleen Turner does in Serial Mom? So yes, that is fucked up, that fella.
Yeah, like I said,
What would you sing while you were wielding your leg of lamb? What would you
I
sing?
honestly would probably doing
Annie?
the Flintstones and yabba dabba doing it.
Would that be if you had a frozen leg of lamb or a cooked leg of lamb though?
Definitely a frozen leg of lamb, and for
I'm just
yeah,
specify
just
here.
the frozen. But I think if I were to, be stabbing people with the bone and the meat, I'd probably be singing Ice Nine Kills, "Stabbing in the Dark." I don't know why, but it definitely seems like it'd be
Straight
fitting.
to the point.
Yeah, straight to the point.
So you've got Sleepwalkers.
Yes, Sleepwalkers, the corn on the cob. Sleepwalkers. Such a great movie. Sleepwalkers.
Yes.
If it wasn't creepy enough, with the blatant incest and fear of cats. Cats are creepy. Mine's annoying. Then being killed by a not so innocent barbecue staple, a delicious and half-eaten corn on the cob to the back, will make you look at the corn on the cob and never make you look at the corn on the cob in the same way again, which is absolutely right. I mean, just the thought process about killing somebody with a corn on the cob, because corn on the cobs are not stiff enough, honestly. They break very easily.
You never know where that one was stored, though.
Exactly.
Could be anywhere.
So if it's hard enough, that is 2 sexual puns in a row, to be able to be stabbed in the back, we'll make that 3. With this episode, for any sexual pun, take a dang drink, all right? And there's plenty in this episode. But yeah, just being stabbed in the back by the corn on the cob, that would definitely make me not look at barbecue again, because I am American. Barbecue is a staple over here, and I absolutely love my corn on the cob with some a nice rack of ribs or a beef brisket or something like that. So just having a staple like corn on the cob being stabbed into somebody's back, that would, honestly, if I ever saw that, I'd probably still eat corn on the cob, to be honest with you. I wouldn't care.
It doesn't bother me.
So
I have, is it Leprechaun?
You do.
Nothing quite like says, do you like my pogo stick? Like being maimed by a creepy leprechaun on a pogo stick. That's A+ for effort and for being resourceful in the face of danger, lol.
Yeah. God. Leprechaun.
It's creepy because the leprechaun is creepy. And from those movies, they're even creepier. And a pogo stick, for fuck's sake.
Yes, a pogo stick. And not only that, that's just being a good old classic of a kids, honestly, just a kids thing, being able to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and
Or a pot of guts.
Turning it into a horror movie to where this leprechaun does have a pot of gold, but he is a maniacal, villainous, vicious
douche. We dick.
Yeah. Fucking leprechaun.
Pretty much. Because remember, we say it's literally don't be a dick. That is one of our rules. That is like our top rule.
Don't be a dick.
So you've got a good one.
I know. My next one.
I've give you loads of good ones.
The next one on this list, and I'm actually happy that it is put in here. But before I do get into that one, I also want to touch on the Serial Mom one too. It's not necessarily a horror movie, but have you seen Law Abiding Citizen?
Yes, with Jared Butler.
Jared Butler and Jamie Foxx. Because you sat there and talked about you were talking about the leg of lamb and the bone and stabbing people. That made me think of the part where he was basically getting put on death row, and he had his request for his final meal. And he asked for a T-bone steak. And what did he end up doing after he was done eating that steak? He used it to stab the shit out of his cellmate's jugular.
Well done.
Classic. That was beautiful. And not only that, it was perfect timing. When stabbing was when the dude put the heavy metal on. Perfect.
Yep.
I still would love to know what song that was that he put on too. But back in.
If you know it, put it in the comments below.
Please, if you do know what song he did put on right when he was getting his jugular stabbed, please put that in the comment, because I would love to know. I'd love to add that to my playlist so I can literally think of jugulars getting stabbed on a daily basis. Anyways.
Yeah. Yes. Anyways. So the question was, would you clean your weapons first, or would you wing it and hope for that it doesn't kill you now, it will later? Because remember, you might use your knives for the same, if you stab something, but you need to clean it to eat.
Which was the Final Destination.
Alright, you've not did that? I thought you...
Final Destination, Death by License Plate, which honestly is more screwed up in more ways than one, but it is razor sharp and could cut through you like butter. Sorry.
Yes. Butter.
Think of the germs, the grime, and everything, and then being used as a weapon on a killing spree. Quite honestly, I think, adding a license plate to a wooden baseball bat, if you're screw the license plate into the side of the
In a
baseball
pinch.
bat, yeah, I think that would actually basically turn the baseball bat into an
That
axe.
would. If you didn't have nails or anything, you'd have like a chib
Yeah,
type thing.
absolutely. But
Gotta be resourceful, man.
yeah,
In the apocalypse, everything gets used.
everything gets used, and quite honestly, I've had plenty of time to think of what I would do in an apocalypse. So I'm gonna be pretty resourceful.
Yep.
But if you guys haven't
I am
seen,
gonna use everything.
yeah, if you guys haven't seen Final Destination, you guys aren't aware of that part. Basically, what ends up happening is the goes and decapitates somebody. Final Destination is, if you guys don't know anything,
Scaring the shit out of you about going outside.
Yeah,
Full stop.
yeah, pretty much.
Forever.
Basically, it's trying to avoid
Everything's dead.
It's trying to avoid death and the patterns that death places upon you. Kid, Devin,
In everyday life.
Devin Sawa,
Soya.
yeah, Soya.
Soya.
Has a premonition when he's on a plane that the plane is going to explode. He freaks out. A group of students plus himself get taken off the plane, as well as a teacher, and they are sitting in the lobby with the security guards. Then the plane goes boom, and then it's literally just pure murderous enjoyment throughout, with these kids trying to find ways to beat death, because now death has come back with a vengeance because they thwarted death's plan on them dying. So the part is, I would say, 3/4 of the way through the movie. It's got also what is his name? Stifler. Literally how I can always remember his. Sean William Scott.
Sean William Scott. Yeah.
They end up stopping at train tracks, or their car dies on the train tracks. They all get out. Train hits the car, which was a disappointment to anybody who is a muscle or American Absolutely Gorgeous. That gets destroyed by a train. License plate ends up getting left, and it's bouncing. Sean William Scott ends up going through a rant about how he's avoided death, blah, blah, blah. He's pissed off, and then finally, piece of the license plate ends up getting caught up underneath a chain and basically gets shot like a bullet, or a slingshot would be a better use of it, and decapitates Sean William Scott. If you guys haven't seen the Final Destination movies, do yourself a favor. Also, do yourself a bigger favor and keep your mind open if you want to go through the whole series, because they do kind of get stupid after the third one, but they're still great movies.
Not just that, they're not about premonitions though.
No, but they all do end up going through what is it? All the killings, and you end up finding out that they all had something to do with the very first movie and the flight. Spoilers. Sorry.
They work out something. Yeah.
But
it's fucking ancient. Again,
yeah.
If you haven't seen it, what have you been doing?
Living under a rock, playing with themselves in their mama's basement. Who knows?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with doing that.
There isn't, but I mean, if they haven't seen the movie, then they obviously have. What is the old saying? Beating your meat or masturbating will make you go blind. That's God's punishment to people who masturbate. So obviously they have went blind and haven't been able to see this movie.
Oh, and that's maybe why I need glasses.
That's definitely why I wear glasses.
Well, it's definitely probably the reason why I wear glasses. Because I didn't need them like earlier in life, and now I do.
It's the masturbation, I tell you. It's doing something. It's making me go cross-eyed.
Blind? Taking my fucking sweet.
Gonna be blind by the time I'm 40, and that's not too far away.
Oh, shut up! That's a couple of weeks away from me. It's literally a couple of weeks away.
Love you, Darcy.
But don't shut up. Men grow old gracefully, and then women look like old witches.
No, hold on. We do not grow old, okay? We stay kids. We just age. That's it. We never
like an old man baby.
I'll probably be a 70-year-old man that still acts like he's 20 in mindset, because Lord, if I'm 70 and I'm drinking the way I'm drinking now, I probably will die at 70. Just saying.
Well, you're just giving me the warning. I'll be ancient by then. I'll be like 80, almost 80. You're like 70.
You'll be 77.
Probably looking like 57 since everybody thinks I look about 12.
See, that you got that going for you. Well, then again, you haven't seen me without a beard. I do look like a child. I do.
I look like a child with that. So do I look like a child without my beard.
The fuck?
Uh, yeah. If you hadn't actually seen what I look like, then I'd probably have been able to go, yes, I have a beard.
That's why I
I'm
said
the bearded
the
lady,
fuck.
that's what I am.
But I'm gonna let you take over the next one.
No, right. It seems the classic knife-wielding menaces have paved the way for horror, from Michael Myers' famous kitchen knife, Jason Voorhees' machete, to Leatherface's chainsaw. The weapons for horror have evolved, but the classics remain to this day the start of what was to come for the future, making it a challenge for new horror franchises to become creative and using what they have and creating the next best weapon. What is the most memorable weapon that you've been that have been chosen over the years of horror, and why do you think the classics are still right up there at the top? Do you prefer old and classic weaponry or new and creative ways to take down your victims? If you could have any creative weapon to go about your life with in an apocalyptic dystopian world, what would it be and why? Cut you a lot of words there, didn't I?
You did, but I mean,
It's basically the classics versus the new creative ways.
that is. I mean,
I always confuse you, man. I give you all the words and then I give you a question. You're just like, fuck.
well, I mean, for creative ways, you got to think with the new ways now, there's going to be so many apocalyptic that's going to have weapons, guns, stuff that are going to be far ranged. I honestly probably would prefer to go the old ways because the old ways on any kind of apocalyptic weapon, it involved one thing that a lot of people really don't do anymore, and that's called sneaking around, being quiet. So
Yeah.
being able to avoid detection of everything with
Taking your time.
having guns and everything like that, I honestly think that would be the best route to go with.
The
In my
element of
opinion.
surprise
No,
is not the
it is
same as
absolutely.
what
Yeah, it's not. It's
wouldn't you
the
say?
element of surprise is definitely people just don't care. They just want to be known.
So you're classic
Yes, I
as
am
well.
classic.
So I like one of my favorites I'm going to say first is Sex Machine's crotch gun, because I'm a woman and no one expects you to have a cock gun. And it would make my penis enemy very happy and be a talking piece. I bet you mine's bigger than yours. And then out comes your crotch gun. Lol, the codpiece revolver. Why would you not want that? It would be better for a woman because like mine's bigger than yours. Then you just like whip out your cock gun. Sex Machine. He was brilliant in From Dusk Till Dawn. That's I had to clarify. Tell you what movie it was from if you hadn't seen
I
From
knew
Dusk Till
what
Dawn.
movie it
The
was
weirdest
from.
movie ever. The weirdest
But
movie ever
yes,
that takes a twist. Ultimate twist.
yes, From Dusk Till Dawn. If anybody has not seen it, I can't even help you guys anymore. The movie. It is weird, but it is a classic.
Juliette Lewis is in it. Who else? Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, he's in it.
And
Salma Hayek.
George Clooney. Oh, Salma
Yes.
Hayek, yes.
And
yes,
George
please
Clooney.
watch it. But not for George Clooney, for Salma Hayek in her
Yes.
bikini with the snake.
Yes.
That's always very memorable. And drinking whiskey from her leg.
I don't know how many times I got excited in the pants seeing that scene. Just saying.
You just can't even look at Salma Hayek and a Salma Hayek and the same way, man. And
Nope.
especially in Dogma either, you can't look at her afterwards when she's like talking about how her tits don't make a woman. That's hilarious.
Or what was it, Desperado?
Yeah, was that? Yeah. She's been in so many good films though.
Yeah, Desperado with Antonio Banderas. I'm pretty sure
like
that
him
was
as
her.
a vampire. Do you want a crotch gun? Do you want to be like Sex Machine from From Dusk Till Dawn? If it was like not too heavy, not going to restrict you from running or anything like that. If you were in a pinch, if you had a zombie on you, you could literally just like
shove it down the throat and just watch their head go boom.
Also, again, you could randomly shoot it if it pushes you over or whatever. Also, you could shoot it from a distance.
And
You don't have
again,
to use your hand.
like I said, guys, we are going to be directors of a movie. That specific gun will be put into a movie called Every Inch Counts. Why? Because it is a cock gun, all right? It literally needs to be in that movie, period.
The crotch gun and
Exactly.
every inch counts. Explosions.
Exactly.
So, if you could only use one room and its contents, what would it be and why to destroy the killer coming from you? It doesn't even need to be a room that you own, just like your dream room or whatever. If you could have any room, it would any be weirder than mine.
I'm going to go a little
I
weird
said a
on this
dungeon.
one. I would honestly say a sex room. I mean, you got to think a killer coming into a sex room, their first thought
Confused.
would not to be coming after you. It would be looking around and thinking to themselves, "What the fuck?"
Yes, exactly. It'd be confused. Like, what the fuck
And
have I just
not
walked
only
into?
that, if you're into the BDSM, then you have plenty of rope to tie a killer up. You have plenty of stuff to beat a killer with, like a flogging paddle.
That will do nothing. That will just confuse them. You would need something like an actual, like, proper, like, you need like a
It
proper paddle to
it
take
would
him
do
out.
nothing. Let me tell
If it
you
was Michael
something.
Myers, Jason.
It would, I don't care. I would tie him up and use a flogging paddle because let me tell you something. It would really confuse the killer on who's the killer. At this point in time, the killer is going to be wondering, am I a killer or am I enjoying this? They are going to be
Or
so confused.
you'll also have it be like the not a ball gag per se, but it would like just randomly shove something in the killer's mouth at the same time, just randomly chain them up. Put them. You never know if you've got like a St Andrew's cross, whatever, and it was just like literally you could end up maiming the killer.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I love how you and I both had the exact same thought on this one, just worded differently. Because
I used the
one,
proper the term for it. It's a dungeon.
it is a
It's a dungeon.
dungeon. It is. At the same time, the fact that we both knew exactly what we were talking about when I said sex room, the fact that we
I
both
know.
had the same idealistic qualities of why we would use a specific room, this is why you and I are friends. That is all. That is it. The end.
It is because we're friends that because no one else gets us. Well, apart from our trio, which is obviously she's not here, but she's on Discord, just not that Discord. Not just that, it could be anybody who maybe could be like studying like, things like horror movies and stuff, because I have done that as well.
Exactly.
People who
Yeah.
have maybe like worked on movies or, you know, they're passionate about that type of thing, then reach out to us that way, and we can do full episodes talking about that. There's just so much stuff that I'm interested to make up the
We would love to definitely get
Hmm.
anybody's opinion, or just have an episode where we just discuss anything, ask each other questions about stuff and discuss it, and just have a good decent episode to where we are able to get somebody on here. And like her and I have discussed, I do believe we discussed it on past podcast. I'm not sure. We do plan on wanting to do a watch party that would be uploaded to where we do watch horror movies, particularly horrible ones, and
with
have
our
a
own
funny,
comments.
yes, and have funny commentary. Um, so we do plan on that now. As you guys noticed, Darcy and I are very passionate about horror movies, but we are also the two people that can usually guess a plot from the very beginning of a horror movie. It'd be interesting to have a group of people do a watch party with us to where we can literally sit here and get their points of view on things. Can be, and while Darcy and I sit back and realize, well, we already know this person's the killer, or this is gonna happen, or this, it'd be a good
Like
time.
anything, yes, because there's lots of things to discuss. Just random as fuck stuff when we're watching a movie, and also we could do it like Hercules Return, where If you've not seen that movie, it was like basically people put on a movie, Hercules, and the voice track is fucked, and they've got to do the commentary.
Oh,
Funny, it's
yes,
an
yes,
Australian
yes.
film, it's hilarious. So I thought we could like do that, just like rip the piss, like kind of like rewrite it in our own way, how we would do it. Like, you know, you wouldn't have the sound on, you would literally just maybe have the subtitles up and just be just talking absolute nonsense.
Yes, absolutely. That'd be that. I think that. So the next point that we want to bring up,
I think it's your turn to talk
it is.
since I just bamboozled you with loads of words.
You did. So the next one is. It seems like Supernatural has the most choice. For genres of movies, and I will do the first one, which is classic horror movie alumni, Mr. Michelle Myers.
Michelle, really?
Yes, Michelle. I will be
Michelle
killed in my
Meyer.
I will be killed in my sleep this Halloween
Keep up
because
with
I
it.
mispronounced his name. So it was nice knowing y'all. No, but the weapons that he has used a very broad spectrum of them, but everybody knows that his was the butcher knife. But
Kitchen
he
knife,
has, yeah, but he has killed with his bare hands, a hammer.
yes.
He has used a metal
Mhm.
spike to kill somebody, scalpels or medical machetes, a tripod leg, which I remember that all too well, syringes, garden claws or pitchforks, which again, it's notable that Michael Myers was one of the guys that if he had it close, a scythe, a corn thresher, a hot tub, a light bulb, and his classic, which was the butcher knife. I still remember the tripod and the hot tub where he killed. Those were pretty iconic just because obviously it wasn't with his original butcher knife, but neither was everything else minus his butcher knife. But it was still those two killings were very iconic to the films. I thought they were great.
And Halloween H2O, remember, he kills with a skate as well. Remember, Joseph
Yes.
Gordon-Levitt gets a skate. And then there's
Yep.
the girl who plays Ginger for Ginger Snaps, who gets stuck in one of those old school, remember old school like lifts they would use in the restaurants to bring the food up
Yes,
and down.
yes.
And her leg gets, oh, that could still happen, man. Do you know?
Yep.
that that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking. That would be me getting totally fucked up and tripping up and fucking my leg up. That would be me.
Yes.
Scares the fucking bejesus out of me. So
Yeah,
I forgot about Halloween
absolutely.
H2O because some people don't really associate really that film, even though because it's
The
Josh
only
Hartnett's
Halloween
film.
movie that I associate as a Halloween movie is Season of the Witch.
That is pointless. That's no, just no. It's no. See, it's literally causing me to fucking freak the fuck out. I don't like it. I absolutely despise it. And it should not be a Halloween film. If they wanted to do a stupid ass film, do a stupid ass film that's got nothing to do with, that
Exactly. And
Michael Myers.
I've wanted to go back and sit down and properly watch the whole Michael Myers series. Every time I do, I skip over Season of the Witch every time, and
It's
everyone
difficult
always
for us to do that.
and everyone always asks me why, because it's
'Cause
not
it's
a proper Halloween movie and it's shit.
I didn't like the one with Paul Rudd either. You remember
No.
that one?
Yeah, no.
He was supposed to be the
But
wee boy getting babysat and all that shit.
if I can remember correctly, and now that I'm sitting here trying to think about it, and I'm gonna have to fucking go back and watch it because that's how I am. Season of the Witch, I think, does not reference Michael Myers at all in it.
But they used the franchise to
But
sell the movie.
yes. So
That's
now
frustrating.
that I'm thinking about it, I'm probably gonna end up having to go back and watch.
It's part of the franchise. It's part like the people buy it. That third one in it. Do you know what I mean? So
It is, but I want to go back and watch it for the simple fact is the movie was shit. So don't take that as me going back to actually wanting to watch it. I do want to go back and watch the first one, the second one, and then Season of the Witch. I want to see how it ties in, but I really don't think it does at all. But I just want to go back and see if there are Easter eggs in it that make it tie in. Because I think I watched it once and I never watched it again for the simple fact of shit, and it doesn't reference Michael Myers at all.
Rob Zombie's films and the original Halloween films, is there any Easter eggs in them that can I like correlate with the original?
No, I don't. I don't think so with Rob Zombies
Like,
because Rob Zombie.
I thought you'd want to do an homage to, the fact that he says he's a big fan of, the
He
original Halloween
is.
movie.
But I think. Well, I think the homage was remaking.
The only thing I liked about those films, they gave him a backstory rather than making up shit like they do in the rest of the fucking films. Because half the time it's my brother. No, it's nothing to do with, It made no sense who Laurie Strode was because his sister died and because he killed her, and then Laurie Strode became the sister that they had.
I think the baby in that one was technically not his sister, even though she was in a way, because I think the dude that played the dad wasn't actually their dad. Which is one thing that did piss me off about Rob Zombies is they didn't explain what happened to the original dad, why they just had an abusive stepfather. So that was one thing that kind of pissed me off about that. But so I think the baby is actually the stepfathers and the mothers is not their actual sister.
Yeah. But they
So
said it was anything to do with him he used to go after, but then the rules changed again because he killed everybody who was associated or without blood.
yes.
Te-
And
Friends, neighbors.
And what really pissed me off about the series, the actual Halloween series, was when they released the 3 new ones within the past couple years, was even the directors and the writers even came out and said, ignore it all the way up till the new one was made, ignore the series.
The story line.
Yeah, so it's literally the
isn't it?
very first Halloween movie. I'm not 100% sure if it's the second one and then it's in those last 3, or if it's the first one and then skips all the way to the 2018 and so on. But they have come out and said that the series itself you need to ignore besides the first Halloween, and then either the second one and then the very last 3, or just the first one and the very last 3. And I don't like how they did that. They completely are negating the Halloween storyline in general.
With the fact that there's also, I don't know if you can remember, and I think it was the one in 2018, the Halloween, that when she talked about, him coming back and how, you can't trust him because he's not dead. Remember, we've discussed that in our previous podcast. Well, another one. They always come back, the Scream one. So the way she's talking is, if they're telling you to scrap those other movies, then why did she have a line that said that she's fought him her entire life? Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If those other movies didn't exist, then there's a big ass fucking plot hole right there.
Yeah, because I think it was the 2018 one
And
where.
also, Halloween HBO, she changed her name as well. Find out that's why her name was changed.
Yeah,
To hide.
but she also did, make the reference in the 2018 one to where that's not my brother. But for a lot of horror fans that don't know, it makes sense that Michael Myers is not her brother, because the original title, the original name for the Halloween franchise was actually supposed to be The Babysitter.
Well, that sounds, again, it would be like the baby, or they would probably change it to like, maybe Halloween Night the Babysitter. Do you know what I mean? They would maybe do it like that and then change maybe the name for the next sequel, like Halloween.
Well, that's
Night
what the
Halloween.
original series was supposed to be before they landed on Halloween. It was supposed to be originally called The Babysitter, and then they ended up leaning and going with Halloween instead. So I mean, that would kind of give reference to Michael Myers not being a brother. He was actually just a kid that was supposed to have a babysitter.
But the babysitter was doing something she shouldn't be, like Jason Voorhees.
Yep, that goes back to our previous episode of snoo scenes.
Do you want to do Jason?
Yeah, I can do Jason.
You can do them all if you want.
Yeah, that works. So we all know good old Jason.
Before.
You did, but it's okay. But we all know throughout the Friday the 13th franchise, Jason's iconic weapon of choice was his classic machete, which is on here. But he always did find himself throughout any of the movies either losing his machete, and I'm surprised that there is one that is not on here, because it would have been iconic. Because if you think about it, the very Friday the 13th movie, he was not doing the killing.
No, it wasn't his mother.
It was his mother.
Because technically she was the
So,
weapon. She was the
yeah.
weapon.
So for anybody, again, get out from under your rock, people. You guys have not seen the Friday the 13th series.
The original.
The
and not the
original,
remake.
yes, please don't watch the remake unless you just have a infatuation with either Danielle Panabaker or
shit.
or Moose,
Or
Mr.
No,
Padalecki.
no.
If any of you have an infatuation with them, then go ahead and watch it. Don't come on this channel with that crap.
Just don't talk about it.
Yes.
Just keep it
But
outside. Keep that filth
if you guys,
outside.
yes, if you guys have seen the original, very first movie, you guys realize that Jason is not the killer, it's his mother, because Jason is technically still dead in the first one. But going through all the series, he has had his various weapons. So we're going to start off with the first one, which is not on the list that she has created, which is his mother. She is the weapon. And then he has used a wood chopping axe, pickaxe, an Uber machete, which that thing was freaking huge, fence post, tree trimming saw, spear gun, a sleeping bag, various machetes, head shears, a fireplace poker, liquid nitrogen, and then, of course, his classic machete that he uses time and time again.
Because he misplaces it. What a douche.
Always. Now, can I ask, out of any of these weapons, did any of those come from Jason X?
Was it not nitrogen?
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. No, it wasn't liquid nitrogen. Little testy test.
Excuse me. Excuse me. You're supposed to be on my motherfucking side, mate.
I am on your side. I just wanted to test you.
Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't go outside. I had no friends.
But no, I still remember that liquid nitrogen in that movie. That was woo-wee.
Oh, Jason X, though, I wasn't expecting to be anything particularly great, but it did have some epic scene proportions, put it that way. And I wouldn't say it's one of my best ones, but for again, if it was on TV, because it's on TV, I would watch it.
Yeah,
I mean,
Jason
I would
X
definitely watch it.
was one
Once
of
in a
those.
blue moon is fine to watch it. Yeah, once in a blue
Jason
moon
X
type.
was kind of, honestly, it was almost one of those filler episodes, to be honest with you. It had no real storyline besides the fact that Jason was technically frozen and or killed, and then it's kind of a futuristic type deal. Comes back, they revive him, he goes on a murderous rampage, blah blah blah. Typical
As
Jason
you do.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But as you could tell, our disdain of hate for remakes, even though the sleeping bag was in his list of weapons of choice, he did use it in the remake as.
You like that death, the burrito? You like the campfire burrito?
I do like the fiery burrito death because it is a very sleeping bag.
Makes you hungry.
Hence why I don't use sleeping bags when I go camping.
I don't go camping, man. That's fucking evil. No.
But
sorry if you enjoy it, but I do not.
But her and I do have a disdain-hate of remakes. There are some that are halfway decent. As you can tell, we did not have a particularly big issue with the Rob Zombie remake of Halloween. But
the original Halloween, the first Halloween movie, yes.
Yeah, but the Friday the 13th series and them only making one of the Halloween movies, as you can tell, we have a disdain-hate for it. And it was not that good at all.
Yep.
Even though I will say this, there is one weapon that he did use in the remake that was list, which I thought was actually kind of different, Jason, which was the bow and arrow, because he did use a bow and arrow in the remake.
Yeah. Maybe I see that way when it is a remake. Sometimes I just switch the fuck off, man. I'm just like,
See, there is, and it's hard to consider that a remake because they don't actually remake anything. I guess it's kind of more of an add-on because they do say that it's, people did go missing and stuff like that at Camp Crystal Lake, and there was a big backstory to it, blah blah blah. So technically,
season of the witch and Jason's world pointless using the franchise season of the witch.
Because I mean, if you think about it, what was the original premise of the remake of Friday the 13th? One, Jared
Well,
Padalecki's character was trying to find his sister. Great. The other group of guys were literally just trying to find weed.
yeah.
Granted, they were going to a
Pointless.
cabin. They were going to a cabin by the lake, but their main
Yeah.
focus was weed. A big
It was not.
field
Yes.
of weed.
Yeah, they had like an objective and a target, really, but it wasn't in the good nature of Jared Padalecki looking for
No,
his sister.
yeah, that's basically what the premise was let's go out into the woods out by Camp Crystal Lake because I have somebody who told me that there was a crap ton of weed that will sell for expensive amounts of money.
Yeah, but
Okay,
whoever owns
that
that weed is coming along to give you a beating for stealing said weed as well. Oh, wait a minute, you're just going to get killed by this random as fuck serial killer.
exactly. So the next one on this list is actually extremely short. That would have been Mr. Ghostface himself from Scream.
Because
He,
it was different. It was only because Billy's weapon was different,
yes.
apparently.
So everybody does know he did have his
The gun.
weapon of choice was a modified Buck 120 knife. But because of Billy Loomis in the first movie, he did use a Beretta 92 FX. And I'm not even looking at the
Yep.
notes, and I knew exactly what that one was. But anyways, he did use
Yeah,
that in the very
just
first
that
movie.
good. Yes, but again, you do see that in the most recent Scream movie, though. Scream movie where they've collected all the fucking paraphernalia right down to like things that people have randomly bought from police auctions, isn't it? Because after a certain time, they're not supposed to get rid of evidence like that, but still people would do that. It's not uncommon for people to misplace evidence and sell it
Yeah,
if they know they're going to make money. So that guy had like Billy's, I'm sure it was one of Billy's weapons he had, and the
yeah,
display of everything,
absolutely.
and all the stuff from
Absolutely.
Stab, so and photos and things like that. So it's actually not, not believable that someone would be nasty and fucking release that shit. If he's got to make a buck, is that not what people are like? So some people, not all. Did you not see that they're supposed to be like bringing back Sydney for one last movie? That's what came up on
I
my
did
feed.
see that, and I'm honestly, I'm one of
No.
those guys that are tired of seeing Sydney.
Why? Sydney's like a shitty fucking victim. She plays the victim when she's not the victim. She tries to be strong and then blames everything on everything and how she's not had a fucking life. If she hadn't have the fame of all this going on, she would literally have probably not had anyone near the advantages she probably had. Sounds bad,
Yeah,
but
I
it's true.
mean, and like you said, she plays the victim, and
Yes.
she explains that she doesn't have anything. But I mean, how many victims in horror movies that have been there that have done stuff with their lives? If you really want to get creative, let's take Jamie Lee Curtis's character from Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up turning around and then ended up becoming a school teacher.
Yep.
Yeah, she didn't use that as an escape not to be able to do anything with her life. Yeah, she was more paranoid, protective,
Yeah.
but
But she'd
she
have to
still
be in this
did.
world. So yes, I like the fact that you did. See, when you bring that up to folk, why did she always act the victim? Why did she always act like she couldn't have done anything with her life? Courtney Cox's character. They went on to, was it she would write multiple books, loads of stuff. She also helped with movies and God knows what. But she said no, she couldn't do things. It's just like, whatever. You could have done
Yeah.
something, but
So
she
the next
didn't.
one on this list
Is what? Because I'm
is
actually
good
in the
old
kitchen.
Freddy.
Of course. I was putting
And
the
again,
classic ones in there
no, of
because the
course.
classic ones I feel that are better because I knew you were going to agree with me, which is crazy that I did ask you, oh my god, you agreed. But when I was writing this out and I was creating that document, I was like, he's gonna just pick the exact same ones as me. So I might as
No,
well just write
exactly.
it like that. Anyway, so
So Freddy
we
did
don't
not.
always agree.
We don't.
We don't always agree.
But when it comes to the classic, I guess quite honestly, besides who you have after Freddy, but the classic original alumni, the four original quadruplets of horror,
Yeah.
they're it's dead on. I mean, granted, the next one is dead on too, but the original OG slashers, yeah, I mean, that's nothing that you and I could really honestly. But Freddy's weapons of choices were obviously his glove. Um, and I do like how you put as the second one, he does find different ways to use the glove for other objects, which is absolutely great because he does use his weapon for or his glove for. Well, we'll take Dream Warriors. He turns his glove into syringes, stuff like that. And then the very last one is his mind, and he does find ways to bring out your worst fears and thoughts. So that one definitely does play into Dream Warriors as well. And you're right. I mean,
Yep.
that was the biggest thing with Freddy was, yeah, he had his glove that could kill people, but his main number, because he did draw out the fears. He did draw out your, stuff like that so he can kill you.
And also manipulated things like he thought were truthful and it wasn't, and playing on the fact that your mind can be its biggest enemy and the biggest weapon for yourself as well, because your brain could take you out from the way you're thinking, feeling, or literally your brain could be so fucked up you could die. So he's basically using your biggest fears, and when he gets into your brain, and I feel like they do explain it a wee bit better in Dream Warriors because it was literally about their world in their head and luring Freddy there together to try and defeat him and stuff. It kind of explains it a wee bit better in that one than it does in any other one. If you get what I mean.
It does. And the one thing that really kind of, because you and I have a very special place for Dream Warriors in our heart.
Yes. That's why we talk about it all the time. Have you not noticed?
Yes, but I think what really irritates the crap out of me about Dream Warriors and on is in Dream Warriors, the main characters realize that is their dream.
Yes.
They can control it. They are the ones that can manipulate it. It's
Stop it.
Freddy. But after that movie, the premise of that does not happen again until
No.
Freddy versus Jason.
Yes.
And that really irritates me because it's like, okay, you have these characters defeat Freddy because they realize that their minds are what controls their dreams and they can defeat them. But it never
Yet
gets
again,
brought up again.
and that's what's weird because
And it is
I
weird.
think
And even Freddy versus Jason, it only gets brought up for like a split second when they try to bring Freddy out of the dream world to go toe to toe with Jason.
which is epic.
Which is
Because
absolutely is epic.
it's one of those things that you may have thought about. I don't know about anybody else. I don't know about you, Leonard, but I would have thought that I always wanted to see Jason up against Michael and just them all kind of fighting up against each other, just as this random spoof movie. Because when they did Freddy versus Jason, I got the soundtrack because I went to see it at the cinema. I absolutely loved the soundtrack because it's got Slipknot and Murder Dolls and Powerman 5000, loads of really good bands playing on that soundtrack, and they were in the movie as well. They were actually in the movie. It wasn't like they were just in the soundtrack because they were like horror. Stone Sour, I think, was in it as well. But it was really good because Wednesday 13 and Murder Dolls were a horror punk band, so it was really, really good, really, really fitting. So that movie was just one of those things that holy shit. Do you know what I mean? That they actually did that.
And for a movie, because I think Freddy versus Jason was the last Freddy movie that Robert Englund did.
Which is a shame. He's brilliant.
It is.
Robert
Um,
Englund,
but what really irritated me, the whole thing, was the fact of the very end of Freddy versus Jason. For anybody who hasn't seen it, I'm sorry.
We always apologize, but we're not really sorry.
Yeah, we're not really sorry. Yeah, I do apologize, but we're not. Get your head out your asses, people. But the very end of it, when Jason is coming out of the water with Freddy's head, and Freddy winks.
Yeah, that is just so good.
Is a cliffhanger.
Like he can't be killed. There could
that
be
is
more.
a cliffhanger to a second Freddy versus Jason movie, and the fact that we never got it, I want to riot.
Exactly. Again, they left us waiting. They left us. It's just what if? What if?
Yeah, because I mean, Now you're introducing a universe.
Yes, a
You
different
have brought
universe. And what?
Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger together to epically battle. I know it was basically a power of wits and stuff like that. You know, they did, between the two of them, find out each other's weaknesses. Jason's is water, Freddy's is fire.
They're the yin and
But
yang of
yeah,
each
it's
other.
yin and yang, but at this point in time, you brought us a universe. Continue
Yes,
the universe until one of them dies, and I don't care if you literally got to kill off Jason or Freddy, but what I want is for you to add a post-credit scene to where now Michael Myers is coming into the picture to kill off either Freddy or Jason, one of the two. You have opened this selection up. You have opened this world up, and I am passionate, and I want a movie.
or we could have a different universe, a different Earth or something where, it could be Freddy versus Freddy who's not the serial killer, or Jason if Jason didn't have that happen to him or whatever against that Jason. You could have really just Freaky Friday made everything all obscure and fucked up. You could have, because in 2000s they were doing weird and obscure shit to try and compete with things like Scream and
Saw.
Yep, Saw and all them. So you needed to be obscure and weird and shit. That's why we get Jason X and
Yeah.
space frozen and everything. Do you know what I mean? They really just ticked all the fucking boxes right there, didn't they? Of weird and obscure and random that would never fucking happen. But still, you watched it because you were interested to see if space and keeping them frozen would actually do something.
Yeah,
You
and
were interested.
and that's the thing, is they literally did need something for that, but they did. For any of you who don't like Freddy versus Jason, I will say this now, I don't fucking care. Freddy versus Jason
Got
may
its
have not
place.
may have not been the greatest out of any of the series, but it was still the greatest for what it was. You have introduced iconic slashers together. Yeah, with a
For
twist. I
that
mean,
generation, because it's a new generation now. So what the fuck? Why don't they give us, like you said, maybe give us our fucking sequel now? They've had long
yeah.
enough.
Yeah, I mean, as much as her and I hate sequels, I'm sorry, I will go see that.
Exactly.
I was
It's
like, it
just
could
because we
probably
don't
be
like them. We
it could
still would
probably
go
be a
watch them.
shit movie. I will want to go see it to watch how it ends. I don't care about anything else. I just want to know how they plan on ending it. That would be it. If it's a great movie, great. If it's a shit movie, I'm going into it knowing the sequel is going to be shit. I just want to know how the story is going to end.
But when they say it's the end, it's never the end. You've got to think like
Yeah, I
Randy.
know. I know, because I mean,
That's what the be all and end all.
look at it. Jason is technically a supernatural being who's already dead. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
technically, it won't
Just
end unless the Winchesters come out and kill him.
exactly. That's the only way. Because if they can't defeat him, and see if they, it's like who would be in Dean and Dean and Sam's arsenal if they could have anything from good or evil. Like they could bring Crowley back, they could bring Bobby back, they could bring Daddy Douchebag back, Dermot, anybody. Do you know what I mean? They could literally bring back.
I honestly feel there'd probably be two people. One person they would reluctantly bring back, and one person they would
Bobby.
hesitantly bring back.
Bobby would want to come
Crowley
back though. He'd like sign me back.
Crowley would be the one they would be reluctantly to have back.
But then you'd have to list these good points, these bad points, because Crowley is
Yeah, I
actually
know.
really resourceful.
But the other one would be them to be hesitant about. And the reason why is because one, they've had so many issues with.
Yep,
But
he still comes
two,
back.
because technically Jason is a supernatural being that basically risen from hell, he would most likely be able to take care of the problem easier. And you already know who I'm going to say. It would be Lucifer.
Yes. But would you have Lucifer in Sam's body? Would you do it that way?
I would
His
have
vessel? Which we could
how
have
I would
both
I
powers.
probably
Sam with
would.
his
I would
wind.
probably do Lucifer in Sam's body, and then Crowley by himself, and then Dean with the Mark of Cain.
Oh, he was ruthless then. And
I
also he
honestly
was
think
really, really good
I honestly feel like at
karaoke.
that point in time it would be a good fight.
Oh, it would.
I think it would be a very
Definitely.
good fight. So the next one and the very final one on our list, Good old Pinhead. And he does
And that's
use
my favorite.
Yes, he does use the Cenobites for unlimited torture of memorable deaths where you suffer on Earth and then an eternity of torture in their realm. So anything at their disposal or anything they could create, they would use. And let's face it, the number one thing that a lot of people and don't realize is, yeah, you can get anything you want because of the Cenobites or Pinhead, but it literally does cost you an eternity of torture. Not your soul, an eternity of torture.
Fact that you get to see the suffering of what happens to you on Earth. So think in another dimension, you don't know how that would feel, whether it might not be as painful, but you'll have to live with something that is like torture or tormented for the rest of your life. You don't know what they do or what their speciality actually is on their plane. So
I mean, it literally would be your own hell loop.
yeah, kind of like, when Supernatural, you've got your heaven. Well, they talk about your heaven, not your
Yep.
hell type thing. And then you see that some people's hell type thing, that's kind of similar to that. But actually,
Or
the whole Pinhead thing, I just love the fact that he is the main daddy of them all. Do you know what I mean? But he's the daddy of them all, but the Cenobites all together, I don't know, are they, if not worse than Pinhead alone? Or they, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? If the
yeah,
Cenobites do this, what the fuck
absolutely.
are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? Do they work
Yeah,
together as a team,
absolutely.
or do they just do their own fucking thing? We don't know if it's a team building exercise, all these fucking torturing people, because technically humans are their own worst demons, not just enemies, demons.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I feel as if the Lucifer series on Netflix says it the best. People don't go to hell because of their sins or because the devil sent them there. It's because of their own guilt.
Yes,
So
they're
I
there
definitely,
for something bad.
that's what ends up putting them in their own hell loop is their own guilty conscience of what happened. So I honestly feel as if that was honestly the best explanation of it because in true reality, the only person who beat you is yourself. Let's see. Oh, ladies' shoes, ladies' beauties items, etc. All can be used as a weapon and full handbags for uh ladies' full hand. I definitely heavy and welcome damage. Yeah. I definitely could agree with that. I don't know. I actually had a friend whose mom had a very, very abusive past, and she had a purse that she actually kept 2 bricks at the bottom of it. So I definitely agree with that very last statement.
That basically anything in a bag could be used as a weapon, especially a handbag,
Yep.
because women have lots of things in there that you could use for torture devices. You never know.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
also,
Like my
steel.
my wife on her keychain for the car, she has pepper spray. So
See, we wouldn't
yeah.
really have that here. It sounds we don't actually. There's people who have got some sort of like kind of mace that they would have, but usually it's because you like work in a prison or you work in something else.
Yeah, no, we just
Maybe
carry it freely around here. So I see you put a couple facts at the bottom of it. Is this just relating to the episode or
it's usually the horror facts at the end. I wanted to do Psycho Gorman because you know how much I love Psycho Gorman.
I know. Okay. Oh, did I? I
Uh-huh.
said we'll read these, and then I have a couple too that I
Okay.
want to introduce. So, but I'll read the
Awesome.
first one about Mr. Jackson here. Peter Jackson
Mhm.
was allegedly responsible for using up all of New Zealand's supply of maple syrup, an essential ingredient in some fake blood recipes, in order to complete his zombie opus.
And that was
That is
basically Brain Dead.
that's actually pretty cool. I did not know that.
Well, think the amount of blood in that movie, and it was like a not even a B movie. I'd say it's like a Z movie.
Some filmmakers now they goat's blood or pig's blood.
And they used to
They use
they use
actual
corn
blood.
syrup and curry. Well,
Huh.
remember they talk about it in Steam.
Yeah,
Billy
no,
Loomis goes, "Oh, it's corn syrup. It's usually used for pig's blood and curry." Michael Gorman is it's actually a horror sci-fi movie, and if you haven't seen it, it's my husband and I absolutely love Psycho Gorman. It is hilarious, and it is so it is very violent, but it's like stupid violence because it's like he's controlled by a necklace. It's a necklace or a ring. But this wee girl ends up with it. Basically, she finds it in her garden, and she controls this demon from space, basically, and she can make it do anything she fucking wants. So in Psycho Gorman, if you've not seen it, if you watch it, you'll understand why I wanted to actually talk about the facts. Apparently, they killed 70. Psycho Gorman in the full movie killed 70 aliens, 24 humans, and one mutant. He uses everything, including himself, to take down his enemies, which is what I spoke about earlier. Especially if you fuck with his Hunky Boys. Hunky Boys was I think a porno mag, basically, that had Hunky Boys on it, and he was obsessed with the Hunky Boys, and he actually says a line in the movie, "Not my Hunky Boys," when people are fighting near his Hunky Boys. He's not happy about it. And I said at the end, I said, "Is there a weapon that hasn't been used that you think would be a good weapon, right? And is there a weapon you feel that doesn't get the acknowledgement it should?" This is to you, Luna, as well, and also to anyone listening. If you could let us know in the comments, basically, is there a weapon that hasn't been used that you think that would be a good weapon, and also one that doesn't get as much acknowledgement?
I think pretty much we have covered it. Throughout the years, there has been so many horror movies that have had countless different weapons. So, I mean, it's kind of honestly hard to say that there isn't one that hasn't been, or that there isn't one that I could give a good commentary on, because, I mean, look at the original alumni of Killers. They have pretty much used everything at their disposal. So, I mean,
A lot of
it's kind
things
of hard to,
similar as well.
yeah, it's just kind of hard to give throughout everything. But also too, I have two facts that I thought were pretty interesting as well. Um, so the first one
Like
actually
here,
is
what's
the
that?
first one. Oh, nothing. The first one is actually from a post from a homicide archivist named Thomas Hargrove. And this one, he estimates that there are over 2,000 serial killers at large.
What, in America or worldwide?
Worldwide, because I did find another one, and this is the second one, that the former chief of the FBI's elite serial crime unit, John Douglas, has said in 2015 there are conservative estimated number of serial killers that range between 25 and 50 active in the United States.
Holy, that's still a lot, even though the States is huge. To think that there's still could be 50 serial killers out there that are killing people.
Yep.
Uh,
And then my second one I thought was kind of creepy and interesting because I didn't know this.
okay.
Um, but it is Scottish in nature.
All right. Please don't tell me something to do with Braveheart.
No. Nope.
Thanks.
It's actually two Scottish surgeons originally invented the chainsaw to assist child.
Hell, what the hell would they want to do to a lady's shop? Holy shit! No way!
So, like I
No,
said, it
no.
is creepy and interesting because I didn't know that. I didn't know that the chainsaw was originally invented to assist childbirth. So it was creepy and interesting.
So a lot of things we're responsible for, unfortunately. There's some good
So
things.
yeah,
Penicillin, the telephone, you know what I mean, TV. It was brilliant because they took the lore from that, actual lore from that region of the world and
yes,
Dracula and how he became who he was and who he was. And they actually explain it in Bram Stoker's Dracula as well. It's
yep,
quite, violent when you see it. It wasn't supposed to be, oh, this guy just gets, becomes who he is, and then, his love is persecuted and they can't be together and all that shit. And it's like it's a love story for goths. It really is. That you'll always find, your Mina or your Dracula. But I absolutely love Luke Evans because my husband and I watched that Dracula Untold, and it was supposed to be setting up a universe. That was the first movie of the universe. So
yes,
because it didn't take off because that part again wasn't really. It was again it hit at the wrong time. It came out at the wrong time, which is a shame because Luke Evans is a brilliant actor. Such a talented actor, and I absolutely love him, everything he's in. So it'd be great to see more on what they were going to do, but again, came out at the wrong time. People didn't like it. People just didn't want to get it. They'd had enough of vampires. Twiglet did that to everybody. What do they expect? Yes, there's like 9
there's
downloads, a
9
whole 9.
views.
Which is,
Hey,
hmm
that's
So I was like,
9
what?
views.
I know
So,
it's really good.
but yes, Hales, thank you for listening to our podcast. I'm glad you liked it, and obviously there's going to be more to come. Horror topics are our thing, and we're going to have plenty for you guys. So, if you definitely liked what you heard on this week's episode of Weaponry from the Dark Side, please leave a comment, a like, share us out to anybody who you think would appreciate this kind of topic. And we hope to be able to respond to your guys' comments in the near future. Anything you want to add?
So
Uh,
no, you covered
all
it.
right. There's nothing else to add. Again, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time.